Hello everybody, it's Philly Kuts with another comic book haul with the Kuts. I believe this is number, 19? We're starting to get up there. I still need your help. I want to thank all you guys that have been trying to think of a name for my comic book haul. We're getting close. We're getting close. A few of the selections I did like. I'm going to answer your comments from last week's video. I'm going to do that after I make this video. But close but no cigar, so I'm still waiting to see if someone can name my weekly comic book haul, and you will win a copy of Hellraiser, The Road Below. It's a one-shot graphic novel put out by Boom Comics, if you're familiar with Clive Barker and the Hellraiser universe. This is Kirsty Cotton's first mission as a Cenobite. She's been turned, people. She's been turned into a female Cenobite. The wonderful Jaime Zhang is the artist, and I want to give this away to somebody. And, you know, we'll give this a few more weeks, and if I still, can't find a name that you guys come up with that I like, maybe we'll just have a drawing for this, okay? So we'll see how it goes, but I'm definitely going to give it away to someone, but I hope that someone can name my comic book haul. All right, we got a big stack of comics. I think I got about 11 or 12 here this week. Pretty big week for me. A couple new entries into the haul. But before we get started, as you can see, I'm wearing my Green Lantern t-shirt from Target. I've been bit by the Green Lantern bug, people. It all started when I picked up Sinestro, the graphic novel by Cullen Bunn. He's doing Wolf Moon now, too, by Vertigo Comics. And I just fell in love, first with Sinestro. I love Sinestro. He's definitely by far my favorite character in the Green Lantern universe. But I've been bitten by the Green Lantern bug. I went and got a few other graphic novels. I'm going to make a whole separate video for this, so I'm not going to get too detailed in it here. But I did get Green Lantern, the New 52, Volume 1, which is all about Hal Jordan and Sinestro, which is great. I just got in the mail today from Amazon, Volume 2 of the New 52, The Revenge of the Black Hand. This is basically the return of the Black Flag. He's the one who raised the army of undead Black Lanterns. So I can't wait to learn about that, because I don't know anything about that, about the Black Lanterns. Basically, I'm a Green Lantern rookie now, novice. I was a virgin before. Now I'm in rookie status. I ended up going to my comic book shop on Saturday, and they had this Secret Origin Green Lantern by Jeff Johns, who is now becoming one of my favorite writers. I really love his work in here. And it gives a great background of Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. So just by reading this, I learned so much stuff. I learned how he came into possession of his special ring that causes him to be Green Lantern. I learned about the Overseers. These people, they're not even called Overseers. I forget who they are. The Watchers? I don't know, those little green dudes or blue dudes. Anyway, I'm going to get into more detail. I actually have 4 more Green Lantern books coming, mostly New 52 stuff. So be on the lookout for that when those come in the mail and I start to read these a little more. I'm going to get all into Green Lantern. Now, topic of the week. This is a new segment to the show. I want to ask you guys, when was the last time, comic book collectors, that you got so inspired by reading a character or being introduced to a new universe that you just had to go out and buy as much stuff of it as you could? Much like me here with Green Lantern. Like, I've really been bitten by the bug. I've been enjoying those books more than anything that I've been reading so far, to tell you the truth. I've just been sucked in. I just love the whole universe, the politics that are involved between the different factions of Lanterns. I think that Hal Jordan is a great character. I think Sinestro is a great character, the way that they've started to flesh him out from what I understand. So let me know in the comments section below who or what universe was last to really inspire you and just make you want to buy stuff up and get involved and be as exposed to as much of that universe as you can. All right, people, this was a big week for me and for Marvel in the Spider-Man world, Spider-Verse. And this week, crazy dudes, 4 different Spider-Verse titles came out this week, okay? Too much. I got 3 out of the 4. I think there was Amazing Spider-Man, okay, the Part 5 of Spider-Verse came out. Spider-Woman number 3, which is the end of this Spider-Verse segment for this series. Spider-Woman's going to continue, but it was the last part of Spider-Verse for her. And Scarlet Spider's number 3. That's it. That's finito for Scarlet Spiders. No more. And then I think it was a Spider-Verse team-up, which I felt the first 2 issues of that were garbage, and I didn't pick up those. Spider-Verse and Spider-Verse team-up. Both suck. Sorry, that's what I have to say. So why? Why so many? Why so many issues in 1 week, dude? I mean, I'm looking at, you know, I don't mind big stories and tie-ins and crossovers sometimes, but 4 in 1 week? I mean, the other big, huge story arc that I'm tackling right now is the Dark Horse Fire and Stone series with the whole Alien universe. Alien versus Predator, Prometheus, Predator, those 4 titles. But at least they're staggering each title every week. And now it's gone into like every other week, because there's only like 2 more issues left on that Fire and Stone arc. But 4 in 1 week, I mean, come on, man. I mean, for the real hardcore Spider-Man collectors, I know it's a choice. I talked about this last week. You don't have to buy every issue, but if you're really following this and you're buying all the tie-ins, issues, and everything, I mean, that's a lot in 1 week, and they're all $4 a pop. So $16 in 1 week, potentially, on Spider-Verse is a lot. Now, if you are buying all the issues, a warning, okay? You're going to want to read Scarlet Spiders first. Because basically, in Amazing Spider-Man, they give away this whole issue. Basically, they tell you exactly what happens in the end in the first 2 pages of this issue. So, warning, read Scarlet Spiders first. And basically, these are the spider clones. They're on the Inheritor world, controlled world that's run by Genix. And basically, Genix has a factory for the Inheritors that manufacture the clones. So that's the side story that it really gets involved in on that. It's pretty good. I mean, it's not the best one out of all the tie-ins. It's actually my least favorite, to tell you the truth. None of the characters really in this book really stuck out at me. The writing is a bit goofy. It's more on the goofier side. It's almost like the comic relief tie-in. So just be sure to read that one first. Then we might as well go into Spider-Woman. So we got Spider-Woman number 3. And that's Miss Drew there. And Silk. Basically, Silk, it continues the story. Silk is trapped on this Earth 3145, and it's like a nuclear fallout planet. But the good thing is that the Inheritors can't follow her to this planet. So I love how she constructs a spiderweb suit out of her webbing to protect her from all the radiation. I really love that. And the other part of this story is Spider-Woman is on Loom World, okay, which is the home planet of the Inheritors. In case you forgot, the Inheritors are this being of people who are trying to kill every Spider-Man in all the verses. They need their life essence. They want it. And these Inheritors are badass. They can't really be fully killed. They have a immortalness to them, because each time they're killed, a clone comes and takes over their body. Takes over their spirit. So they kind of live forever. So they're tough. Spider-Woman gets involved in this issue with Morlun, who is the eldest of the Inheritors. And the catch is here is that there's another Spider-Woman on this verse, okay, on Loom World. And it's Morlun's girlfriend. But this is the actual Spider-Woman. And she has to deal with his advances and him just being like a total asshole. And it's a really funny sequence. I started to read it where he's trying to figure out what is wrong with her. Like, she's not behaving like herself. And he's trying to figure out what is wrong here. And she is just, you know, Spider-Woman, Miss Drew. I always forget her first name. I always want to call her Nancy Drew. It's Jessica Drew. She is just, like, repulsed by Moreland. And it's just like a really funny sequence. And I really love the artwork in here. I know that a lot of people don't really like Greg Land's work in here. I was reading online. But I don't know. I just think that the way he draws Spider-Woman, she just looks so, like, sexy and seductive. I've always had a thing for brunettes. And I really liked it. So, Spider-Woman, check it out. And, of course, Amazing Spider-Man number 13. The big bombshell that was dropped at the end of this issue was the return of Uncle Ben. Okay? That was the big spoiler. Since I already let the cat out of the bag last comic book haul, there's no stopping now. This kind of gives you some background information on Uncle Ben. Why is Uncle Ben back? And which verse is Uncle Ben from? And it gives a nice rundown of what Uncle Ben has been up to in this verse. And they do it in an old school format of Spider-Man, which is really, really cool. I don't know if you can see it right next to Uncle Ben's head there. But it's really, really neat. Basically, the Spider-Men are in trouble. Because in the last issue, there was this giant inheritor. His name is Solus. This guy right here. In the middle, the old guy, the big hefty guy, he basically invaded the Spider-Man's safe zone, or what they thought was a safe zone where the inheritors couldn't get into. Well, this guy, Solus, put that all to hell. There is no safe place. Or so we thought. Because again, as I mentioned before, nuclear fallout, an irradiated, I can't say it, planet, protects the Spider-Man. So for some reason, these inheritors can't go into a place that's been affected by nuclear energy, or like a nuclear bomb, a fallout place. So it's really interesting. The battle continues in this issue, so there is lots of action. One of the complaints I do have about this story, I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm definitely enjoying learning about the inheritors. The inheritors are an awesome bunch. There's another good look at the cover. But the thing is that, like, I feel like I'm watching one of the Hobbit movies, and why I say that is because there's just so many of the Spider-Men, and there's so many different spider totems and spider people that you just kind of lose track, and they're never able to really develop a lot of them. So it's just kind of like, you know, you see one here, you see one there. And it's just, I don't know, too many flavors, you know what I'm saying? So it's been kind of difficult in that regard. And they're trying to weave together all these different tie-in comics, too, which can get a little bit confusing. But really, if you didn't buy all the tie-ins, you're pretty much going to be okay. You should get the gist of the whole thing just by buying the main comic. So, whew, I'm out of breath, man. Lots and lots of Spider-Man this week. Okay, I also picked up Batman, number 18, and this continues the Superman's Joker theme or story arc. Basically, we're trying to figure out who Superman's Joker is in this issue. Last issue, we thought it might have been Lobo, but it turned out it wasn't. Basically, this secret Joker of Superman has basically told Superman that I am going to kill and torture and get rid of anyone you've ever cared about in your life, anyone you've ever helped. Anybody that's ever been important to you, I'm taking out. Pretty intense. And right in the opening page from the first issue of this story arc is the cosplayer who played Superman at a party that ended up getting killed by this mysterious Superman's Joker. Fortunately, Superman was unable to attend the funeral because he's busy catching the bad dudes. But the star of this book, I think, is Adrian Sif, who's the artist. Very, very heavy pencils, but I love. And it really brings out, like, a ton of detail. Supergirl makes an appearance. But just the style is just very, very, like, pencil heavy. And I really, really like it. I'm really, really falling in love with Adrian Sif. And I think that this is his first major book that he's done work on. So I'm really feeling him. And I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for him in the future. And I hope that he sticks with this series for a while. All right. Let's move on. We got Rumble #2. Very, very fun yet confusing first issue. You have this Scarecrow character. Oh my god, I can't remember his name. You gotta remember, people, I'm buying like 30 or 40 different titles a month, so I get all mixed up. This Scarecrow character is a hoot, and I don't know, he's almost coming across to me as like an anti-hero character. But the way that this book started out, they just kind of drop you in the middle of the universe. You're not given any, like, kind of background on anything. You're just kind of dropped in. The preview, I went online and looked at the preview on Comics Preview, and they're saying that a lot more answers should be, questions should be answered. But there's going to be still a lot more questions raised. All right, well, I'll stick with it. It's got an all-star cast of people. You got John Arcudi writing. You got James Herron doing the art, and then Dave Stewart doing the coloring. They're all working together right now in the B.P.R.D. series for Dark Horse in the Magnolia universe. And, I mean, you could tell that this is Dave Stewart, definitely. And even Herron. I mean, look at some of these panels here. That's the Scarecrow there. And it's just kind of got, like, sort of a cartoony look. In the opening panels, there's this guy, this old guy in an apartment. He's, like, making dinner, and he has a pet, and it's like a pet hydra, or like a 6-headed snake creature. Weird. And there's all kinds of weird-looking cats. There's something known as a bog mummy. It's just a bizarre story. And it's hot right now. Like, when I went to my comic book shop today, there was one issue left. I kid you not. I bought the second to last issue. There was one issue left after I got mine. So I guess it's selling really, really well. And I can see why. I mean, it's just got an all-star team banging it out. All right, dudes. On to Image Comics. Another Image title. And we have Drifter, the Stranger in a Strange Land series. Basically, let me get my cheat sheet here. Cat's out of the bag. Abraham, what's his name? The character. I gotta start taking notes. I think it's called Abraham Phoenix. He basically, crash landed on this planet. He doesn't know if it was a year ago or if it was 3 days ago. He thought it was like 3 days ago. He meets a woman. The woman tells him, no, it was more than 3 days ago because this crash ship that you say is your crash ship, they went back and visited it together. She's like, that's been there for like a year. So, stranger in a strange land. I don't know where I am. What time is this? What day is this, dude? Kind of story. I really like this story. I really like the artwork again and the writing by this cast. It's Ivan Brandon is doing the writing, and Nick Klein is doing all the artwork. And it's just a grim looking issue. There's this man called the Preacher, and he seems to get his dues paid for something that he's done. I guess some of his sermons have really ruffled the feathers of some people, and it looks like he's getting crucified, people. But the main crux of this is that Phoenix travels down to like a well or a mine shaft in order to, he needs to get a weapon. There's this weapon that he needs to gain access to, and the people that have this weapon say, well, you got to get to work for us. There's something you got to do down in the earth. And down in the earth, he discovers that humans are not, they are not the primary form of life. There's some sort of worm creature. I'm not giving it away, but I guess there's like another being of creatures that we get introduced to in this issue that kind of run the fucking show on this planet, which I unfortunately forget what the hell the name of it is. Alright, Autumnlands, Tooth and Claw. This is my anthropomorphic series from Image, another Image comic, rated M for mature. This issue, I just leafed through it. I don't know much about what's going to happen, but it is very, very dialogue freaking heavy. I mean, there's just one sampling of all the dialogue that you have to look forward to. So I love that. It sounds like it's going to set up a lot of story. You know, in the last couple issues, you've kind of learned more about different factions, different problems, politics involving this world. The great champion has been raised. That's what happened in the very beginning of this book. This group of magicians or wizards got together, and they were concerned about their world, that it was devoid of magic. So they wanted to try to conjure up this entity or this being known as the great champion. Well, they did that, and chaos freaking ensued. And their city basically blew up. It, like, exploded. Mass chaos. Devastation. Here's the champion. And I guess in this issue, you learn more about who this guy is. And what makes him so great, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But you wonder who's running the ship here on the Autumnlands Tooth and Claw. So I'm going to stick with it a little bit longer, see how it goes. And I recommend it thus far. I'm really enjoying it. Alright. Hellraiser Bestiary issue number 6 of 6. There's Pinhead, made out of stained glass. I don't know if you remember, a lot of you kids are probably too young, but when I did collect comics when I was a kid, there were Hellraiser comics put out by Epic. And it was called Hellraiser Masterpieces. And basically it was like an anthology of Hellraiser stories. You know, each issue had about, I think, like 4 stories in it. This is kind of along the same theme. You get 3 stories. Actually, one of the stories has been running all issue. I mean, each issue. It's been running in all 6 of the issues. Jeez, I can't talk tonight. What is wrong with me? I had a fucking long-ass day at work. And I had to stay a few hours extra. That's why this video is being posted much longer. Or delayed. Delayed time. I'm probably about 2 hours late in posting, but that's why. Anyway. The Hunted, that storyline has been running through all 6 issues. So you had a reoccurring story, and then you get 2 brand new stories each issue. I'm really looking forward to The Hunted, the end, because Pinhead basically confronts the dudes who took his pins, and also, I guess, the dude that ordered the taking of his pins, and it involves the freaking church. It involves the Catholic Church. So here's a little sneak peek at that. It looks like Pinhead is making his way through the door, and he wants to fuck up this pontiff, it looks like. And the pontiff has an armed security guard regiment. I don't know. I'm not really feeling the art in this, well, to tell you the truth. I think that the art, even in the other stories, is it's not the best. It's kind of like a bootleg Dave Stewart in a way. I'm not really feeling it. So, that concludes this series. So that's going to free up a little cash for me to start investigating some other books. Okay, a brand new book by Boom came out. There's a lot of excitement about it. Let me get to this here. It is called Burning Fields. Here it is right here. I love that cover. It's kind of cool. This takes place in Iraq. Everybody's saying, oh, it's like 7 meets, oh, I don't know, Syriana. You know, something like that. Apparently there's been a bunch of murders going on in Iraq, in this secluded town in Iraq. Kurakuk, Iraq, okay? And there's a ritualistic element to it. This is supposed to be like kind of like a suspenseful, kind of horror-ish kind of book. So ritualistic murders. This woman named Dana, who's a former Marine, gets called in to investigate these crimes. And as time goes on, she may regret her decision because things seem to get more and more bizarre. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm going to stick with this probably for a couple issues to see how good it goes. It's an 8-issue limited run, so that's pretty extensive for a limited run. It's written by Michael Morrissey and Tim Daniel, and it's illustrated by Colin Lorimer. Right in the opening sequence, somebody's getting like their teeth pulled out with a pair of freaking pliers. Okay? If you played Grand Theft Auto 5, you remember that scene? Grand Theft Auto 5, you had to pull the guy's teeth out. That's what exactly I started to think about. Very, very dark art. I like it. And it looks like there's a lot of exposition in this book, too. That looks like there's going to be a ton of setup in here. And it's a very political book. I think it kind of delves into, like, private security forces that are in Iraq. Like, think about Blackwater and the controversy that goes along with that. So there's also a lot of political elements in here. So if you're kind of into that, you know, I think it's kind of it's a hot topic right now, especially with the movie American Sniper, which just came out. And I did see, by the way. And American Sniper was a good movie, but I guess there's some controversy surrounding Clint Eastwood, the director's portrayal of the American Sniper. I can't recall his name right now, but I guess there's a lot of controversy with people saying that he's been martyred too much and made out to be this big hero, where he actually may have been more bloodlusty. I don't know. I'm just, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying what people say. I'm not rendering an opinion on it. I will say that it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it, and it was actually a packed house in the movie theater. And when in the hell was the last time I went to a movie that was packed? I can't even think, because I think it was one of the Lord of the Rings movies I went to on opening weekend. Not the Hobbit movies, Lord of the Rings. So it was years. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent like I sometimes do. But very dark. People in the sights. I'm looking forward to learning about this Dana character. Former Marine, now turned investigator. All right, people. The October Faction, IDW. This is for the writing people. I love Steve Niles. He does a lot of horror work. This is about the dysfunctional family. Father is like a ghost hunter, retired. But he gets, you know, pulled out of his retirement because there's people that are out to kill him. This character named Dante, a.k.a. Robot Face, is after him and his family. You know, if you read the last issue, you know that Robot Face was up to no good. He was up to some hijinks. So, the good thing about this book, I read in the preview, is that you kind of learn a little bit more about the origin of Dante. He's this Picasso-esque looking character here. You learn about his origin. You know, how did he come to be? And why is he so pissed off at the father of this family and wants to have him killed? So interesting. Now the two kids, here in the front, they're in shell shock because they're starting to learn about Daddy a little bit more. And Daddy's kind of revealing stuff to them that they didn't really quite understand. And they're learning a bit more about the family business of ghost hunting or whatever it is, demon hunting, that Daddy does. And that there's some unsavory things that go along with this business. I really love the artwork. It kind of changes into really dark sequences. And then it also has some nice reds in here, like in the beginning. Some nice lovely red hues. So I'm really liking it. It's like Dysfunctional Addams Family, people. Alright, and lastly, I have B.P.R.D. Hell on Earth number 127. Basically, this story details more of the mysterious Agent Howards, who has connections to primitive times. And they are battling these primitive beasts in this town. And it looks like Agent Howard has to step up and try to stand down these monsters and kill them. Let me give you a sneak peek. This is why I love B.P.R.D. Because you always get awesome looking fucking monsters. Freaking Godzillas, man. Or at least reminds me of it. Just great. Great. And this is the same team that I told you about on Rumble, okay? You got Heron doing the art, Arcudi doing the scripting, and Dave Stewart doing the colors. So you can't go wrong. You just cannot go wrong with that combination. I mean, it just looks great. I just love how it looks. You gotta love it. It's very, very distinctive. And I love it. Alright, guys, we're getting near that time. I'm running a bit long. There's some more monsters on the way out. Love that. It's like a fucking tauntaun going awry, man. It's a roided out fucking tauntaun. Alright, people. That's been my comic book haul. Be on the lookout. I should have some more Green Lantern stuff. Try to name my comic book haul, dudes. Alright, hints. I like horror comics. I like kind of Hellboy stuff a lot. I like Batman stuff. Maybe someone comes up with a crafty name there. But, you know, something more along the horror-ish type. I think that's going to become more of my niche. Although, I love Green Lantern. So, I don't know. Think about it. We'll let it go for a few more weeks. If I still can't find a name that I like, we'll just do a drawing or something. You guys put your names down, and I'll put, you know, maybe the old school way. Write them on a piece of paper, throw them in a hat, boom. Pick it out, and we're done. All right, dudes. Peace. Sorry I'm late on this week's comic haul. Better late than never, though, right? All right, guys. Peace.